Let me mansplain something to you.
Hit me with it.
I would argue that 90% of the time a man is mansplaining to a woman. It's not done maliciously.
So there's a very good chance that you're right here. The thing is, malice was never the problem with mansplaining. It certainly wasn't the problem that Rebecca Solnit identified more than a decade ago. She instead identified as the intersection between overconfidence and cluelessness. Nor does it seem to be a factor in the definition offered a few years later by Lily Rothman, who describes it as explaining without regard to the fact that the explainee knows more than the explainer. The problem is not malice. It has never been malice. It is some combination of indifference and ignorance. Indifference to the needs of the person that he's speaking to, and ignorance of what they may already know. The level of intentionality that is necessary to act with malice isn't even possible if you are indifferent to or ignorant of your audience.
It's not that because you're a woman, he thinks that you're incapable of figuring it out yourself. It's actually a form of endearment.
That just sounds patronizing.
Men like to explain things to people. It's oftentimes how we think we can provide value.
If it has been explained to you already that your mansplaining does not add value and in fact may add stress to your partner's life, find other ways to add real value.
By mansplaining, he's probably subconsciously saying you are worthy of this information.
It somehow got more patronizing.
Anyone else's dad explained the same concept to them like 10 times, not remembering that they've already told you it?
So in this analogy, we, the men, are the dad, and our female partners are the child? I would like to think that it can't get any more patronizing than this, but I mean, I assume that the last two times, so...
My dad mansplaining me? Does he care for me? And that's a way of showing he cares.
Just because you express love or show care in a particular way doesn't mean that the person you are expressing it to is required to accept it. Especially not if it bothers them. The respectful and reasonable thing to do would be to accept that feedback and change your behavior accordingly.
This is one of many examples where there's just kind of a missed high five in intersexual dynamics. Because from a woman's point of view, I get it.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Explain something, especially when it's trivial or you are overqualified to do it, can seem kind of patronizing.
Kind of is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
Don't be wrong, I said most of the time, there are a couple assholes out there who are patronizing you. But if it's your boyfriend or your dad who loves you very much, he's probably not.
That makes it a difference of degree, not of type. Your intent doesn't negate your impact. If somebody that you love feels patronized or even infantilized by the way that you talk to them, the correct course of action is to change the way that you talk to them, not to try and convince them that it's okay because you never intended it. If he loves you but he won't stop mansplaining after you told him that it bothers you, then he probably is one of those assholes.
I wish we could state our intentions more clearly.
I wish that you would understand that this is not about your intentions.